Now that it's 4:30, the budget work session of April the 30th, 2024 for the Bel Air Town will be in session. Let me call the roll. Commissioner Rutledge,
Here.
Commissioner Chismar,
Here.
Commissioner Taylor,
Here.
and Commissioner Chance. Here. Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Good.
Second.
All right. Any discussion regarding the agenda? All right. In that case, Mr. Krantz.
This is for approval of this evening's agenda, April 30th, 2024, for 4:30 p.m. meeting of the Bel Air Board of Town Commissioners. Commissioner Rutledge,
Aye.
Commissioner Chismore,
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor,
Aye.
Commissioner Chance,
Aye.
and Chair Edding.
Aye.
The agenda is approved.
Thank you, Mr. Krantz. First on our list, we have a presentation from a representative from the U.S. Small Business Administration. I don't see her here.
No, Madam Chair, it appears they're not here, and I received no notification they would not be in attendance, so I apologize. I had no idea they weren't coming.
Okay. Well, in that case, we will move on to the Town Administrator's report.
Yes, ma'am. First off, I've actually excused Ms. Moody until budget presentation. There was some some deadlines they needed to meet related to the audit, and she is pushing the gun to get them down, so she has to be excused until the budget presentation later.
Certainly.
And beyond that, I had no report at this time, ma'am.
All right. Moving to our tentative agenda for the town meeting, which will be held Monday, May 6th at 7 p.m. here in Town Hall. First, we will have the public hearing on Ordinance 828-24, amending the Bel Air Town Code, Chapter 246, Historic Preservation, as well as the public hearing on Ordinance 829-24, amending the Bel Air Town Code, Chapter 165, Article 2, Article 5, and Article 12, Historic Preservation. Mr. Small, anything to comment about those?
Nothing has changed from the last time that you've heard it, but if you have any questions for me, it's just a changing how the appeals are made from the Historic Preservation Commission.
Right, it's just sort of a technical amendment to make our code in compliance with state law.
Correct.
All right. Any
Okay.
discussion amongst the commissioners? All right. Unfinished business at our meeting will be Ordinance 824 and 829-24, as well as Resolution 1226-24, receipt of the Town of Bel Air Planning Commission Annual Report for 2023. Mr. Small.
Yep, you don't have a copy of the latest version of that because it's going to be looked at by the Planning Commission this Thursday, but as soon as it does, we'll send that latest version out to you. If no one needs a hard copy, I will have the digital version suffice. If not, just let me know and I'll give you a hard copy in your mailbox.
Okay. I am good with the digital version, and as we've had prior discussions, Havre de Grace and Aberdeen, we're not voting to approve it.
Right.
It is required by state law that this annual report be filed with the Town and Board Commissioners on an annual basis, and we are just receiving it, correct?
Correct.
All right, thank you. Any further discussion on that? Okay. New business next week will be Ordinance 826-24, amending Article 7 of the Development Regulations in Chapter 165 of the Bel Air Town Code, fee in lieu of open space. Commissioner Taylor.
Yes. I will be concise this evening, given the length of our agenda, and we'll discuss it more next week. But after several weeks and months of workshopping a legislative item for the open space issue, I've come to present the body with Ordinance 826-24 as it is amended. You all should have that in your inboxes to take a look at, and I believe it's published on the town website. Am I correct in that, Mr. Krantz? Yes, wonderful. So certainly for public inspection as well. The fundamentals are that in the B2 zoning area, open space will continue to be allowed at 110% SDAT rated land value. I really should have had this in front of me. In B2A, B3, and am I missing one, Mr. Small? 3A. B3A, that's the third. It will be allowed to a maximum of 35%, so 35% of the requirement can be satisfied through use of open space fee in lieu, and that will be calculated at a 150% SDAT rating. And then in all of the other zones, it will be prohibited. This was sort of the compromise solution to which I came, but I look forward to opening that up for further conversation next week with the board as it goes through the legislative process. So unless there are any questions for me, that's all I'll say about it now, just again to keep myself concise. And certainly if, Mr. Small, if you wanted to add anything.
Just, the planning commission did review this, and they are, I think, somewhat consistent with Commissioner Taylor's proposed changes.
And Commissioner Taylor, I do have to backpedal on that. It is not yet posted on the legislation page, so as soon as this meeting's over, I can get it up there.
Thank you very much, Mr. Krantz. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Taylor. Any questions for Commissioner Taylor or Mr. Small about this piece of legislation? All right,
I think we've discussed it.
all right, we'll look
Previous.
at it next week then in detail. Public Works and Developer Agreement.
Thank you, Madam Chair. When new developments go in, the town works with the developer to see that, infrastructure is placed that will be eventually taken over by the town. So the Public Works and Developer Agreement is a contractual agreement between the town and the owner, and it's signed by the Director of Public Works and Town Administrator upon approval of the Bel Air Board of Town Commissioners. This agreement is, of course, between the Hickory Flats community and the town of Bel Air. The agreement will ensure that the owner-developer undertakes the responsibility for constructing new public storm drains, sidewalks, and curb and gutter installations, primarily across the street from Lee Way all the way up to Pennsylvania Avenue, where the face of their property will be. And what it does, and they will also be revolved for updating the pedestrian signals at the intersection of Pennsylvania and Lee, as well as markings on the crosswalks. And finally, they'll be responsible for milling half the street for the whole section and repaving it, because they'll be digging it up and so forth to put in a new storm drain. So what happens is, if you approve this agreement, we collect a bond and make sure that everything they say they're going to do to our infrastructure is done in accordance to the guidelines and the engineering drawings. They're required to get an independent inspector, and we follow that along. And then once everything is approved and accepted by us, the town, then the property becomes ours to maintain for future. Is there any questions on that?
Thank you, Mr. Klein. Any questions from the board?
So I mean, you've entered into discussions with them already, so this seems
Oh,
like.
this is all written up and everything,
Okay.
and it's all off of the site plan
Right.
that was approved back in a couple months ago. But, oh yeah, they've actually already signed it. And,
Okay.
we didn't, put it before you at the last meeting because there was so much budget stuff going on. We just felt that would muddy the waters too much. So, yeah, we've reviewed it, Elizabeth has, reviewed it, so we're in good shape. And I'll, of course, send this to you in your packet or whatever, and you'll be able to review it. And please don't hesitate to call me, ask me any questions. This is done for every development. For example, the one over at Gateway Drive, the last one over there, Gateway Overlook, we required that they put in an entire sewer pump station. And then, of course, that had to be all engineered and everything. And you'll see from later talks tonight that pump stations run about $1 million. So we made sure that they built a pump station that we would accept, and once they did that, and we were all happy with the job they did, we accepted the pump station, and now it's ours to maintain for the rest of, existence.
Well, I'm glad to hear that Ms. Thompson has reviewed the agreement, and as I understand it, Mr. Klein, this is the kind of thing that is standard in any piece of property that's developed. If they are required to put in sidewalks or roads or gutters or whatever, they will sign an agreement with the town, correct?
Absolutely.
And then all the work has to be done to our standards. You get to take a look at it and say, no, it doesn't meet our standards, you redo it, or it's fine and we accept it.
Absolutely. And these go back, we have a cabinet full of them with like Major's Choice and Homestead and all the communities, White Oak and all. So there's always a public works agreement when a new community goes in, especially when they're utilizing, public infrastructure.
Right, and sometimes it includes something as big as a pump station, but sometimes it's limited to just paved surfaces like streets
Yeah.
and sidewalks.
And so here they're going to connect their stormwater that comes off of their property into our stormwater system. So they have to put in a new system that's going to go right down Hickory Avenue. And then, of course, we're requiring that they replace all the curb and gutter across the street and put in a brand-new sidewalk and then do the milling and everything to clean it up once they're done the project.
Great.
Yeah.
Does anyone else have any questions for Mr. Klein? No? All right, thank you, Mr. Klein. And
No
next is the fiscal year 2024 street resurfacing contract, which I'm sure is also you.
Yes, thank you. It's that time again to resurface streets in town. I have a project that we bid out, and bids were opened about a week or two ago. And the low bidder was Frank J. Gettner Construction Company. And I'm requesting for your approval for a contract of $360,000. We will be paving, resurfacing Dorsey Road stretching from Linwood Avenue to Foxcroft Drive, Foxcroft Drive from Linwood Avenue to Idlewild Road, Hickory Avenue spanning from Lee Way down to Broadway, Marketplace Drive extending from Route 24 over to Tollgate Road, South Kelly Avenue from Baltimore Pike to the entrance of the shopping center. That's there by the Chick-fil-A from the intersection up to where, past Chick-fil-A, where it then becomes the shopping center's road. And then finally, section of West Broadway from William Street to the end by Lerodendron entrance. So that's a real nice paving job. And we have the funds necessary. We budgeted the funds, and they were the low bidder. We had 4 bidders, so it went real well. Any questions?
This is for fiscal '24, this current year.
That is correct.
Okay.
That is FY '24. Yep.
Anyone have any questions for Mr. Klein?
Yeah, Mr. Klein, have you used them before?
We have, many times, actually.
Okay, you're
Yeah.
satisfied with the quality of the work?
Yeah,
Okay, great.
yeah, absolutely. Sometimes you gotta stay a little bit on them, but, you know, that's any
Right.
contractor, so, yeah, we're happy.
Yeah, it's not, they're not an unknown, that's the thing.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Last year's was somewhat of an unknown, and we struggled a little bit, but,
Okay,
you know, this year we feel confident that they could do the asphalt work.
all right.
Yeah. I do want to just add that they were able to be the low bidder by local preference, which is a 5% local preference thing that we've done. And American Asphalt, which is out of Baltimore County, lost out of the low bid because of the low preference of our bid, which is a Harford County contractor.
Okay.
Any questions on that?
And this is purely street resurfacing. This doesn't touch the sidewalks or
This
anything?
does not touch the sidewalk, and that's a good point, because the next one, I think, on the list is sidewalk work.
Well,
Concrete
we will
work.
talk about sidewalks then.
Yeah.
In fact, if no one has any further questions about the street resurfacing, all right, then we'll move on to curb, gutter, and handicap ramp construction contract. Mr. Klein.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And as I was just saying, last year we had a little bit of an unknown, and a lot of times when you have unknown, they use subcontractors, and we were not really thrilled with the job their concrete contractor utilized. Therefore, we felt a better direction to head this year would just try to be going with a concrete specialist right from the get-go. We reached out to Harford County, and they just did a large contract for handicap ramps and curb repairs and other concrete work. So we would like to piggyback on that contract with a company called Olney Masonry Corporation, and they're from Beltsville, Maryland. Really good unit prices. When I say unit prices, when you do a job, you say, okay, we want to do 50 square feet of sidewalk and at 4 inches, and they have a unit price. So it's 50 times that unit price, and that's how these projects are bid. So I just would like to get an approval for that, so then we'll be able to go out and say, for example, a homeowner or you, the board, feels like that you would like to build a section of sidewalk. We already have that number, that unit price, and all we got to do is measure out the size of the project and multiply it by the number. I'd like to get and we probably won't ever do this, but just in case a big sidewalk project came up, an amount not to exceed $100,000 for any one fiscal year. So this will allow us to do the curb ramps, broken up curbs, you know, that might be a trip fall hazard, or projects like I just mentioned, if someone comes up with a sidewalk project that, you know, all of a sudden they want to do, we'll have the contractor there and the price to do it for them.
Thank you, Mr. Klein. Any questions from the board?
Just to say, I was glad you brought that up. Some of the streets that you'd mentioned in the previous contract, particularly in the Foxcroft, Idlewild, Linwood area, I know a lot of those homeowners are interested in having their sidewalks looked at. So that's certainly something to keep in mind as we move forward with this new partner.
Yeah, I think, Jake, what we're seeing over there, and specifically in Homestead community, is it's an older community, and there's a lot of tree damage
Yeah.
to the sidewalks, you know, heaving the sidewalks up. So we're trying to stay on top of them, but there is a lot of crooks and cracks and so forth over there.
Mr. Klein, also, does this contract work on the sidewalks on Main Street that are, once again, trip
Yes.
hazards?
Yes.
Same thing.
Yep.
You know how I have an issue with that.
I do, and I know that probably at the next meeting that we come before each other, I will have the annual sidewalk cutting contract to put
Great.
before you, and that's also a good one where they could shave it down to get that trip hazard out of the
Yeah.
way. They did it once, but you know it's risen a little bit more since when
Yeah.
they did it. Of
Yeah.
course, you had that fall.
Yep,
Yep.
yep. So I am very careful these days.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
So, Mr. Klein, is this for sidewalks also? Because it just says curb, gutter, and handicap ramp.
Yeah,
It includes sidewalks.
Once you'll see in here, there is a unit price for sidewalk too.
Okay.
You know, a lot of times when you do the handicap ramps, and you need to go back 4 or 5, 6 panels
Right.
to make it work for
Slope.
the slope. So indeed, they do have a unit price in there for 4-inch sidewalk. Yep.
Okay. And you haven't quite identified those areas that you're going to.
We have a couple of handicap ramps that we have to do with regard to this project that we're currently doing for the street resurfacing. So we'll
Okay.
utilize them for that. But then other than that, you know, this will take us into next year, and any projects that we have that might come up, either sidewalks or handicap ramps
Okay.
for the resurfacing, they'll be right there for us.
So basically what this contract is, we're using $24 to go into award that contract, and a lot of the work will be done in FY '25.
Could be, yeah, yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and hopefully, what Hartford County likes to do is they like to amend the contracts and give them another year. So, you know, and we would then do the same thing if we're satisfied with the company. Yeah.
So this is a year or multi, or just goes to the money runs out?
Right now, it's a 1-year deal, and then
Okay.
Hartford County usually amends their contract for an additional year,
Okay.
if everything goes well.
Yeah, Hartford County's contracts generally have a 1-year with several 1-year extensions if the county
Options,
chooses
yeah.
to do that. So
Yes.
if they're happy with the work and they're still happy with the price, they'll
Got it.
renew it.
Yeah, yep, exactly right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anything further? All right. Mr. Klein, Public Works Equipment Shed Roof Repair Contract.
Yes, this is our main equipment shed down at Public Works. It's probably a 50 or 60-year-old building. It's where we keep all our dump trucks and our other important equipment out of the elements. Because of the age of it, the gutters and the downspouts and the fascia and all that are just deteriorated to a point where it's not functioning at all. Therefore, we're receiving a lot of water problems. Water getting into the building causing some major floods when it rains real hard. It's also going underneath the foundation. So we really need to correct these issues. Put new gutters on, put new downspouts on, get the water away from the building and clean it up. It's been 60 years since they've been there, so it's time to fix them up. And if anyone would like to stay after, I got pictures of what I'm talking about that I had printed of, you know, all the problems with the project that you'll see. We really need to do something. So it's a job order contract with Sourcewell. We've done these before, and we've been happy with the work that Centennial Contractors Enterprises has done. I actually budgeted $50,000 for the project, and it actually came in at 49,457. So we're under budget by $400 or whatever, so we're really happy with the price.
Okay, anything further? All right, thank you, Mr. Klein.
Thank you.
Staffing update. Mr. Krantz.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I can pass around the update on committees and commissions. We have a vacancy on the Board of Ethics. The Cultural Arts will be upcoming vacancy, as well as Historic Preservation and Board of Appeals, if you look over the next handful of months, just to keep that on your radar. And as far as town staffing goes, we currently have a laborer position posted online. We're actively accepting applications for in the Department of Public Works, as well as a police officer position that we are interested in recruiting people who aspire to become police officers, and we would consider putting them through the academy, as well as existing police officers who may want to transition from their current agency to the town of Bel Air. So we're accepting both types of candidates. And then we're also accepting applications for police dispatch and dispatch center. And that's currently where we're at with staffing.
All right, any questions for Mr. Krantz about staffing?
I do have one question. This is not a complete list of all the committees, correct? I mean, there are other committees like the Tree Committee, Appearance and Preservation. Are they not having any
We were just
individuals who are
pointing
term?
out positions expiring through the end of August.
Okay.
If you'd like me to do
No,
a
that's okay.
future forecast, I can go further than that.
I just was curious if there
Yeah.
were other people
I'm sure
on
there
those
are,
other
but
commissions.
I just don't have
Okay.
that information in front of me.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Anything else for Mr. Krantz? All right, calendar. I know that our May the 9th meeting has been moved to May the 8th. And we did confirm that on May the 20th, our meeting starts at 7, not at 4:30, as some pieces of paper indicated, so. Anything else for the calendar? All right. We're down to miscellaneous on our agenda. No, nothing? I don't think we do either. All right, commissioners' comments?
Just to provide a hearty debt of thanks and congratulations to everyone who was involved with this past Saturday's 150th anniversary events. They were truly amazing. To all the department heads that came out to the Armory and staffed their booths. And I must give particular props to Director Krantz for the finding of the first ordinance. That was among my favorite things to see and do at the Armory. And I'm sure that a lot of folks who came by and had wanted to drag their cows down Main Street, now knowing that they can't, might have been disappointed, but everyone else was greeted with a sense of awe and wonder about the rich history of our town. It really was a wonderful celebration. I also had the opportunity to introduce the Bel Air Community Chorus and Band, which was a wonderful honor. They put on a great concert. And then I went up to Jarrettsville Gardens to celebrate the Bel Air Volunteer Fire Company's banquet, where Town Administrator Eddie Hopkins was celebrated for 50 years of service to our community in that capacity. Congratulations, Eddie. So it really goes without saying that Saturday was one of those days where you just, at the end of it, have to stop and take a look at how beautiful our community is, how wonderful, how many people are moving, doing wonderful things for each other, how neighborly we are, and just how lucky we are to live in Bel Air. Saturday was a wonderful day, and I look forward to having many more like it.
Wait till you see the 4th of July.
That's right.
Speaking of neighborly and what a great place we live in, Sunday, a town I think it's a town resident anyway, some nice person who had been at the Shamrock Park reported that there was damage to some of the play equipment, and she was concerned that somebody might get hurt. It was a small enough hole that maybe a toddler could squeeze through if they tried higher up in one of our play pieces. So 8:30 Monday morning, I sent this email to Mr. Klein and Mr. Hopkins, and by 11:30, it was fixed. And it may not be a pretty fix, but it is serviceable. Nobody can get hurt while the part is ordered and we wait for it to get here. But I thought that was really fast. That was like, 911 service from DPW. So congratulations and thank you. And I emailed the woman, and she was like thrilled that, it was taken care of so promptly. But I knew it was going to be as soon as I told somebody. So
Yeah, I think
thanked her.
that plastic could have been a sharp
That's what I
endeavor,
thought.
and I'm glad we were able to cover it up as quick as we could, you know.
Yeah, I'm glad she reported it so
Yeah.
we know about it right away.
Yep.
But thanks for taking care of it so fast.
Somehow that doesn't surprise me.
Me neither. Me neither. All right. Any other commissioners' comments? In that case, do I have a motion for a closed session?
Yes, Madam Chair. I move that this meeting will be closed under the provisions of the Maryland Open Meetings Act, General Provisions Article, Section 3-305B1. The topic of discussion will be to discuss the appointment of officials to the Cultural Arts Commission. The reasons for the closed session will be the discussion of, The reason will be because public discussion of candidates' names, qualifications, experience, and background could discourage people from volunteering for public service or compromise their privacy rights.
Thank you, Commissioner Taylor. Do I have a second?
Second?
Thank you, Commissioner Chismar. Any discussion on the motion? All right, in that case, Mr. Krantz.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This will be for the commissioners to go into closed session, and we will be returning to open session after this brief interlude. Commissioner Rutledge,
Aye.
Commissioner Chismar,
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor,
Aye.
Commissioner Chance,
Aye.
and Chair Edding.
Aye.
Okay, we'll now go into closed session.